Hello there, and welcome to Lumiverse NL. Maybe you have had a long day, or maybe you simply enjoy falling asleep while learning something beautiful. You have arrived in the right place. A quiet space where relaxing sleep music and soft narration meet the calm light of the universe. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders rest. Let your thoughts slow down. The world can wait. This moment belongs only to you and the quiet rhythm of space. Tonight, we begin a gentle journey into the Milky Way. It is not only a documentary for sleep, it is an invitation to drift into the heart of the galaxy itself. The Milky Way is our home in the universe, a spiral of stars, dust, and invisible matter turning slowly through time. It stretches across more than 100,000 light-years. Inside it live over 100 billion suns, each moving in quiet harmony. Every star carries a story of light, age, and distance. Imagine a silent river of shining worlds moving together across the dark sky. Our galaxy began more than 13 billion years ago. It formed from ancient clouds of hydrogen. After the Big Bang, these clouds came together under the pull of gravity and created the first stars. Their light filled the darkness. When those stars died, they exploded and spread heavy elements across space. Those elements built new worlds. They became the carbon, oxygen, and iron inside you. Every breath you take connects you to those first suns. The Milky Way is not only a place in space, it is a record of everything that came before. If you stand under a clear night sky far from the noise of cities, you may see a pale silver band stretching above you. That faint glow is the Milky Way seen from within. You are looking through thousands of light years of stars, each one a point of memory, each one a small dream still burning in the dark. The galaxy you see is not still. It is always moving, always changing, always alive. Tonight, we will travel through it together. From its quiet center to the long spiral arms, we will explore how it breathes, how it grows, and what secrets it keeps. You will hear gentle science facts about collisions, star birth, and time itself. But you do not need to remember them. Let the knowledge pass through you like calm water. This is space exploration for rest. Learning becomes rhythm. Sleep becomes discovery. As the calming music for sleep hums softly in the background, imagine floating among the stars. Each breath takes you farther from the noise of Earth and deeper into the quiet of the galaxy. This is your first step into the spiral home of light. Close your eyes. Listen to the slow motion of the stars. The universe is already speaking. You are now floating inside the great spiral of our home galaxy. The Milky Way turns slowly, like a calm wheel of light moving through endless darkness. Every point you see in the night sky is a star within this enormous system. Some are close, shining only a few light years away. Others are so distant that their light began its journey before humans even existed. Our galaxy is a collection of stories written in starlight. Each cluster, each cloud of dust, is a memory of creation. But the Milky Way is not still. It moves, shifts, and grows, shaped by invisible forces and ancient collisions. Astronomers study these quiet movements to uncover space facts about how galaxies live and die. The Milky Way began small. Billions of years ago, it pulled in smaller galaxies and absorbed their stars. One of them, called the Sagittarius Dwarf Galaxy, is being pulled apart even now. Its stars stretch across the sky in long arcs, forming glowing rivers of light. Over time, they will mix into the spiral arms of our own galaxy. What we call the Milky Way is a living mosaic made from countless ancient worlds. In the far distance, another great spiral is moving slowly toward us. It is the Andromeda Galaxy. Though it lies more than 2 million light-years away, its gravity is drawing it closer. In about 4.5 billion years, the two galaxies will merge into one. This will not be a violent crash. Space is mostly empty, and the stars will pass safely between one another, but their shapes will twist and stretch, forming great waves of light. Over many ages, they will settle into a new single galaxy, calm and bright. This is one of the most fascinating science facts about our universe. Even galaxies are not eternal. They grow, collide, and begin again. Our home was built from the remains of others. And one day, it too will transform. When Andromeda meets the Milky Way, the night sky will bloom with thousands of new stars. It will be a slow and graceful dance, unfolding over billions of years. Every orbit, every movement is guided by gravity. This invisible force shapes everything we see. It pulls the planets around the sun and the sun around the galactic center. It draws clouds of gas together until they form stars, and it binds us to this place in space and time. You are held by the same quiet power that shapes galaxies. It is both gentle and infinite. Let your breathing match the rhythm of that slow motion. Inhale with the stars that move toward you. Exhale with the light that drifts away. Feel how steady it is, how peaceful, how certain. You are part of that balance. The universe is not rushing anywhere. It is unfolding quietly, at its own pace. As the relaxing sleep music flows beneath your thoughts, imagine the galaxies drifting closer in silence. They do not hurry. They simply continue, just as you continue now. The Milky Way, the Andromeda Galaxy, and every world between them are caught in the same calm pull that carries you toward rest. Tonight, you are moving with them, floating gently through the arms of the galaxy. The Milky Way is vast, but it is not eternal. Every part of it moves. Every star, every cloud of gas, and every world drifts through an invisible ocean of gravity. Even our own sun is on a long and quiet journey. It orbits the center of the Milky Way at a speed of more than 800,000 kilometers per hour. At that speed, you might expect it to circle the galaxy quickly. But the Milky Way is enormous. One full orbit takes about 225 million years. Astronomers call this a galactic year. In all of Earth's history, our solar system has completed only about 20 journeys around the galaxy. When the first dinosaurs walked the planet, our sun was in a completely different region of the Milky Way. The stars we see today were not always near us, and one day they will drift away again. Everything in the galaxy moves. Nothing stays in one place forever. It is a slow and graceful rhythm, too vast for us to notice in a single lifetime. Every orbit traces a story. Our solar system follows a gentle path that rises and falls above the galactic plane. Over millions of years, the sun moves up and down through waves of invisible gravity. This motion is soft, like breathing. It reminds us that even the stars have their own heartbeat. Astronomers use this rhythm to study how mass is spread through the Milky Way. Each small movement tells them how gravity bends the fabric of space. Some stars travel far beyond the calm arms of the galaxy. They move along long tilted orbits, drifting above and below the glowing disk. A few move so fast that they escape the galaxy completely. These are called hypervelocity stars. They are rare and bright, thrown outward at tremendous speed. Sometimes They are the remains of pairs of stars torn apart near the giant black hole at the galactic center. One is captured by gravity. The other is flung outward into the dark. These travelers leave behind the place of their birth, carrying with them the memory of a violent beginning. While we rest here, our sun continues its journey. It moves with billions of other stars, circling a center we cannot see directly. At that hidden heart lies something powerful and silent, a source of immense gravity known as Sagittarius A star. It is a black hole more than 4 million times the mass of the Sunday. Though it is invisible, its presence is known by how nearby stars move around it. Their paths curve sharply, like dancers turning around an unseen partner. The galaxy moves to its quiet rhythm. Imagine now that you are watching this from far away. The Milky Way spins in the darkness, glowing softly against the black of space. Its spiral arms stretch outward, filled with billions of suns. The entire structure turns like a slow whirlpool of light. Clouds of gas drift through the arms, forming new stars while old ones fade. It is a cycle of birth and rest that never truly ends. The space between the stars is not empty. It is filled with thin clouds of gas and dust, the remains of ancient stars and the seeds of new ones. This is where the next generations of worlds will form. Our galaxy recycles itself through time, turning the ashes of old suns into the beginnings of new systems. You, too, are part of that cycle. The carbon in your body, the calcium in your bones, and the oxygen in your lungs all began in stars that lived and died long ago. Every breath you take is a reminder of how deeply connected you are to the Milky Way. Now let your mind drift with it. Imagine moving through those quiet arms, where light flows like mist. Each motion is gentle. Each orbit is patient. There is no rush, only the slow balance of motion and silence. This is what it means to live within a galaxy. Even while you sleep, the sun, the earth, and every atom within you continue to move in harmony with the stars. Listen to the rhythm of your own breathing. Feel how it rises and falls like the movement of the sun through the galactic plane. Inhale. As the stars rise above, exhale as they descend again. You are breathing with the galaxy. You are part of its pulse. As the relaxing sleep music continues, you can feel the Milky Way surrounding you, holding you in its slow, infinite embrace. Every heartbeat echoes its rhythm. Every breath connects you to something vast, quiet, and full of light. The universe is not far away. It is within you, turning gently with every moment of rest. The Milky Way is not a still picture. It is alive, shaped by time and motion. Every part of it, from the glowing center to the faint edge of the halo, is changing. The galaxy grows, not quickly but steadily, through countless small events that stretch across billions of years. It is a living structure, built from gravity, gas, and the silent memory of ancient stars. Our galaxy was never born complete. It began as a small cluster of young suns, surrounded by clouds of gas left over from the early universe. Over time, it gathered more matter, pulling in smaller galaxies that wandered too close. Each of those galaxies was taken apart slowly. Its stars stretched and blended into the Milky Way's spiral disk. Their remains still move through the sky today, forming long, thin trails of light called stellar streams. These streams are the footprints of the galaxies that came before us. Astronomers have mapped some of them in remarkable detail. One of the largest is called the Sagittarius stream. It wraps around the Milky Way like a ribbon, tracing the path of a smaller galaxy that was captured and torn apart. Each star in that stream once belonged to another world, a separate island of light that now lives inside our own. This is how the Milky Way grows, not in sudden explosions, but in quiet mergers that build it layer by layer. Every star carries a record of its origin. By studying their chemical makeup, scientists can tell which stars were born here and which were adopted from other galaxies. Some stars are rich in heavy elements, formed in regions dense with star birth. Others are almost pure hydrogen and helium, leftovers from the earliest times after the Big Bang. Together, they tell a story written across the ages. The Milky Way is not a single creation. It is a collection of many, woven together into one vast and glowing whole. The galaxy continues to gather material even now. Streams of gas drift in from the space between galaxies. Dark matter, the invisible substance that holds the Milky Way together, pulls everything inward, feeding its slow expansion. This process is gentle. Like breath, it does not end. Even as old stars fade, new ones are born in clouds of hydrogen scattered through the spiral arms. Every generation of stars adds its light to the next. In this way, the Milky Way deepens with age, becoming richer, denser, and more complex. Astronomers once thought the Milky Way was a perfect spiral with 4 even arms, but new observations reveal something more subtle. Its arms twist, split, and reconnect in ways that are not symmetrical. Dust clouds hide parts of it from view, making it difficult to see the whole. Some arms fade into fragments while others stretch farther than expected. It is not a neat pattern but a flowing design, sculpted by gravity and motion. Our galaxy is less like a machine and more like a current in water, full of eddies and slow waves of light. When you look up on a dark night, you see only a tiny part of it, even under a clear sky. The human eye can see less than a fraction of 1% of the Milky Way's stars. What you see as a soft white band is only the inner edge of a massive disk. Most of its light is hidden behind dust or too faint for us to notice. Yet it surrounds us completely. Every direction you look leads deeper into it. You live inside that spiral, part of its motion, part of its history. Think about what that means. You are standing on a small planet orbiting a single star. That star moves through a vast disk of hundreds of billions of others. Each of those stars has its own planets, moons, and worlds unknown. Every one of them feels the same gravity, follows the same rules, and shines with the same fire. In the scale of the Milky Way, our sun is a single note in an endless symphony. It does not stand apart from the rest of the galaxy. It moves with it, breathes with it, and shares in its quiet rhythm. There is a kind of peace in that thought. The galaxy is not hurried. It grows in silence, patient and eternal in its motion. When you close your eyes, imagine the slow turning of that spiral. Each light moves with purpose. Each path curves with grace. The Milky Way is not something you observe from outside. It is something you live within, carried by its rhythm, surrounded by its glow. Let your breathing follow the same motion. Breathe in with the stars that move inward. Breathe out with the light that drifts away. You are a part of the galaxy's flow, one small presence within its endless pattern. As the quiet music continues, and feel that connection deepen. The same gravity that binds the Milky Way together is holding you now, steady and still, in the center of a universe that never stops moving. Most stars in the Milky Way move together in calm, predictable orbits. They drift through space like a vast ocean of light, each following its path around the galactic center. But not all stars are quiet travelers. Some are wild, moving faster than any others, racing toward the edge of the galaxy. These are the rogue stars, the wanderers, the ones that refuse to stay bound. A few of them move so fast that they will one day leave the Milky Way forever. They are called hypervelocity stars. Each one is a traveler without a home, flung from the galaxy with impossible speed. Astronomers first discovered them by studying the motion of distant points of light. They found a few stars racing through the outer halo, moving at more than 1,000,000 kilometers per hour. That speed is enough to escape the pull of the entire galaxy. Nothing will bring them back. How does a star reach such a speed? The answer lies deep in the heart of the Milky Way, near the supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A star. In that region, pairs of stars sometimes drift too close to the center. When gravity pulls them in, one star can be captured while the other is thrown outward with enormous force. It is a cosmic slingshot. One star vanishes into darkness, and the other is cast into the endless night. That lonely traveler becomes a hypervelocity star, carrying its story into intergalactic space. These events are rare, but they remind us that even within a galaxy held together by gravity, there are moments of sudden release. Not everything stays bound forever. Some systems break apart. Some stars are born to wander. They move beyond the spiral arms, leaving behind everything that once surrounded them. Out there, between galaxies, they continue to shine alone for millions of years. A rogue star does not fade quickly. It carries its own fuel, burning with the same light as before. It may pass through regions of dark space where almost nothing else exists. There is no warmth, no nebula, no nearby sun, only the faint glow of starlight from distant galaxies. Yet the star continues, moving steadily through that silence. It is a symbol of endurance, a light that travels without destination. Astronomers have traced several of these stellar outcasts. Some came from the center of the Milky Way. Others were launched by the gravitational chaos of supernova explosions or by close encounters with dense clusters. Every one of them tells a story about motion, energy, and freedom. Each one reminds us that the universe is full of movement, even where we expect stillness. Imagine yourself following one of those rogue stars. The galaxy fades behind you. The spiral arms grow small, and the glow of the Milky Way becomes a thin line in the distance. You are moving faster than any planet, faster than light can cross the space between stars in a lifetime. Yet you feel no wind, no sound, only the stillness of the cosmic sea. The star ahead of you burns with quiet determination, a single spark crossing an endless dark. Eventually, it will drift into intergalactic space, where the pull of our galaxy no longer reaches. There, between galaxies, it will continue its long journey. It will see no sunrise and no sunset, but it will still shine. Its light will travel for billions of years, reaching places that no one will ever see. Even in solitude, it remains part of the universe's balance. Its motion changes the shape of gravity. Its light adds to the background, glow. Its story becomes part of the Milky Way's long memory. We sometimes think of gravity as a cage that holds everything in place, but it is also a bridge that connects. Even when a star escapes, it still carries the mark of where it came from. Its trajectory, its composition, and its faint echo of light are all pieces of the galaxy that launched it. To study these travelers is to look back at the heart of the Milky Way itself. Each one carries a trace of the core's immense power, a whisper of the black hole's pull, and a memory of the moment it was set free. Now, imagine slowing down beside one of those stars. You watch it glow, alone but unafraid, surrounded by silence. Its surface boils with fire, and its light spreads across the void. There is no boundary, no edge, only motion and time. You realize that isolation does not mean emptiness. Even in the vast dark between galaxies, there is meaning, there is connection, there is still light. As the quiet music continues, let the image of that star settle in your mind. It moves freely, yet it belongs to everything around it. You, too, are part of that same movement. The gravity that holds the stars together also holds you. The light that leaves a distant sun is the same light that warms your skin. You are not separate from the galaxy. You are one of its travelers, moving quietly through time and space, carried by the same force that guides every star. High above the northern horizon, there is a faint blur of light you can see with the naked eye. It looks like a smudge in the sky. Quiet and distant, that soft glow is the Andromeda Galaxy, a spiral much like our own. It lies more than 2.5 million light-years away. Yet its gravity reaches across that space. Andromeda and the Milky Way are moving toward each other, drawn together by a slow and invisible pull. Every second, Andromeda comes a little closer. Its stars drift our way at about 110 kilometers per second. That might sound fast, but in cosmic terms, it is a peaceful motion. It will take more than 4 billion years for the two galaxies to finally meet. Even so, the process has already begun. Each galaxy feels the gravity of the other, like two dancers sensing the first steps of a waltz that will last for ages. When they meet, the collision will not be an explosion. The space between stars is vast. Even when the disks of the galaxies overlap, almost no individual stars will collide. Instead, their gravity will reshape each other's structure. The spiral arms will stretch, twist, and fold like soft ribbons in the dark. New waves of star formation will ignite as clouds of gas compress under the strain. For a brief moment in cosmic time, the sky will shimmer with newborn suns. From Earth, if humanity still exists, the view will be magnificent. The night sky will no longer be dark. The disk of Andromeda will grow larger and brighter until it fills much of the sky. The two galaxies will merge into a new, larger system, sometimes called Milky Way by astronomers. It will not be a violent end, but a graceful transformation. The Milky Way will not vanish. It will simply become part of something greater, a new spiral of light shaped by time. This event is not unusual. All across the universe, galaxies collide and merge. It is how the largest galaxies are born. The Milky Way itself was built through countless smaller mergers over billions of years. Every time two galaxies come together, gravity sculpts their motion, mixing stars and gas into new forms. Sometimes the result is a smooth spiral. Other times, it becomes an elliptical shape, a glowing sphere of older stars. Whatever the outcome, the process is always patient. It unfolds over timescales so long that even light seems to move slowly. Imagine standing on a world far in the future when this great encounter begins. You look up, and the sky is alive with motion. A swirl of stars stretches from one horizon to the other. Streams of dust form bridges between the two galaxies. The glow of billions of suns paints the night with soft gold. It would be a sight beyond imagination. Not frightening, but beautiful. A reminder that even in the vast stillness of space, everything continues to change. As the two galaxies pass through each other, they will not stop. They will swing apart, pulled by gravity into long arcs, then drift back together again. Each pass will bring more mixing, more transformation. Eventually, after several billion years, they will settle into one shape. At the center, the two supermassive black holes will spiral closer until they finally merge. When that happens, a ripple of gravitational waves will spread across the universe. Space itself will stretch and contract, carrying the memory of that final union. The stars that once belonged to different galaxies will share the same space. New orbits will form, old structures will fade. The Milky Way's familiar arms will disappear, replaced by broad, glowing streams. From afar, the new galaxy will look calm and round, bright at the center, soft at the edges. Its stars will continue their long dance, circling the remnant core that once held two separate worlds. In that future sky, light will flow like water through a single ocean of stars. If you could live long enough to see it, the merger would seem like a slow, unfolding dream. No sound, no chaos, only motion and light. Galaxies do not destroy each other. They become something new. The universe is full of these quiet transformations. It builds beauty through collision, harmony through gravity. The same law that keeps your feet on the ground also guides entire galaxies across billions of years. It is the balance between force and grace, between creation and rest. Now close your eyes for a moment and picture that distant future. The Milky Way and Andromeda glowing together in one vast sphere of light, billions of suns moving as one, shining across a sky with no edge. Even then, the same laws will hold, the same gravity, the same quiet rhythm. It will still be a place where stars are born. The cycle will continue, as it always has. You are part of that story now, a brief flicker of consciousness inside a galaxy that is learning to merge with another. As the calming music for sleep flows beneath your thoughts, imagine that gentle drift, that slow approach, that union across time. There is no hurry, there is no fear, only light moving toward light, and the endless motion of the universe, folding everything together until nothing is truly separate. Long before the Milky Way had its spiral shape, there were stars already shining in the dark. They were ancient, older than the galaxy itself. When we look deep into the halo of the Milky Way, far above and below the disk, we find them still drifting there. These old suns are faint and metal poor, meaning they were born before the universe had time to create many of the heavier elements. They are the silent witnesses of the galaxy's earliest history. In astronomy, the word metal has a special meaning. It refers to any element heavier than helium. When the first stars formed, they contained almost none of these metals. They burned quickly, creating new elements inside their cores and then ended their lives in massive explosions. The gas from those explosions seeded the next generation of stars, adding traces of iron, carbon, and oxygen. Each new cycle created richer material for the next wave of birth. Over time, the Milky Way became a living archive of cosmic chemistry. Some of the stars we see today belong to that earliest generation of descendants. They orbit high above the galactic plane, following paths that are tilted and elongated. Their light is soft, tinted with the color of age. By studying them, astronomers can measure what the early universe was like. Each one is a time capsule. The patterns of its light tell us how long ago it formed, what kind of matter surrounded it, and even how the first galaxies came together. One of the most remarkable discoveries is that not all of these old stars were born in the Milky Way. Many seem to have come from smaller galaxies that merged with ours billions of years ago. Their motion through space is slightly different, as if they are moving against the grain of the rest of the stars. They travel in retrograde orbits, circling the center in the opposite direction of the galactic rotation. This is how astronomers can trace the ghosts of ancient mergers, even after eons. The memory of those collisions still lingers in the movement of the stars. There is a quiet beauty in this discovery. Every star carries its own origin story. Some were born close to where we are now, inside the Milky Way's spiral arms. Others began their lives far away, in dwarf galaxies that no longer exist. Their home worlds have been torn apart, but their light remains. Together, they form a cosmic family, stitched from many beginnings into one shared destiny. The Milky Way is not a single creation but a gathering of many lineages. If you could see the galaxy from afar, it would look like a great whirlpool of light surrounded by a faint mist. That mist is the stellar halo, a vast sphere of old stars and clusters that drift beyond the spiral arms. Most of these stars are ancient, shining faintly after billions of years of quiet existence. They orbit slowly, tracing long paths that take them far from the galactic core. Some may have been part of the first galaxies that ever formed in the universe. When we look at them, we are looking back to a time close to the beginning of everything. Astronomers have found one such star in the halo that may be nearly as old as the universe itself. Its light contains almost no trace of heavy elements, only hydrogen and helium. It is thought to have formed just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. To find something so ancient within our own galaxy is like discovering a living fossil of the cosmos. It connects us to an age when galaxies were only beginning to take shape, when the first stars were still learning how to shine. In the Milky Way, these ancient suns serve as a bridge between the past and the present. They show us that time in the universe is not a straight line. It is layered, with each generation of stars building upon the last. When you look at the night sky, you are not seeing one moment. You are seeing billions of years at once. Some of the light reaching your eyes tonight began its journey before the Earth even existed. You are seeing the past as it arrives, woven into the present moment. Think of what that means. The light from a star older than the galaxy itself is falling onto your skin right now. You are made from the same matter that once burned in its core. You are both ancient and new, both memory and motion. The universe keeps no distance between what has been and what is. It folds time together like layers of starlight. To exist here, in this galaxy, is to belong to that unbroken chain. So, as the soft music continues, they move slowly, far beyond the spiral arms, glowing faintly in the dark. Their light is weak but steady, a quiet reminder that the universe remembers everything it creates. Each of those distant points carries the same message. Creation never ended. It only slowed down enough for us to see it. The Milky Way is still growing, still breathing, still filled with stars that hold the first whispers of time. Now take one slow breath. Let it rise and fall like the orbit of an old star. You are part of that motion. Part of that endless history. The same gravity that holds those ancient suns in place is holding you. The same light that shines from them is reflected in your eyes. You are connected to the beginning, carried within the same quiet spiral of existence. Long before the Milky Way took on its familiar spiral shape, there were already stars burning in the dark. They are older than the galaxy itself. Far above and below the disk, in the faint halo that surrounds everything, these ancient suns still drift. They are quiet and dim, carrying very few heavy elements. Astronomers call them metal-poor stars, relics of a time when the universe had only begun to create the ingredients for life. In astronomy, the term metal means anything heavier than helium. The first stars contained almost none of these elements. They lived quickly, forged new matter in their cores, and died in brilliant explosions. Those explosions seeded the next generation of stars with iron, carbon, and oxygen. Each cycle made the universe richer, more complex, more capable of building worlds. The Milky Way became a living record of chemistry, layer upon layer of creation. Many of the oldest stars we see today were not born here. They came from small galaxies that once orbited nearby. Over billions of years, those companions were pulled apart, their stars stretched into long streams of light that now weave through the Milky Way. These survivors travel on tilted, elongated paths that cross the spiral disk. Some even move backward, circling the galactic center in the opposite direction of most stars. Their motion tells the story of ancient collisions and mergers, written not in words, but in orbits. Each of these stars is a time capsule. Their light preserves the conditions of the early universe. By studying the pattern of elements in their glow, scientists can measure how old they are and where they came from. A star poor in heavy elements must have formed soon after the Big Bang, when only hydrogen and helium filled space. A star rich in metals must have been born later, from gas already enriched by generations of supernovae. Together they form a timeline carved in light. If you could see the galaxy from afar, you would notice a faint mist surrounding its bright spiral. That mist is the halo, a sphere of old stars and globular clusters. Most of them are more than 12 billion years old. They orbit slowly and far from the galactic plane, tracing graceful ellipses through the dark. To watch them is to look directly into the past, to witness the first structures that the universe ever built. Among them are a few extraordinary discoveries. Astronomers have found stars that contain almost no heavy elements at all. They may have formed only a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. Finding one is like finding a living fossil, a remnant of the moment when darkness first learned how to shine. They burn faintly but endure for ages, their slow light crossing space as a message from the dawn of time. The Milky Way itself carries the memory of these beginnings. It was shaped by countless mergers, each leaving its imprint. Streams of captured stars still thread through the halo like cosmic rivers. Some are wide and bright, others are narrow, almost invisible. Together they form a web that connects every part of the galaxy to its origin. The past has not vanished. It still moves around us, patient and unending. When you look at the night sky, remember that the light reaching your eyes may have begun its journey before the Earth existed. That glow has crossed billions of years to arrive here. You are seeing what the universe was, not what it is. In a single glance you hold both history and presence, past and now, bound together by the speed of light. The atoms within you tell the same story. The iron in your blood was born inside an ancient star. The oxygen you breathe once drifted in clouds above a young galaxy. Everything you are has been part of this cycle of birth, death, and renewal. To exist here is to share in the memory of creation. You are made of the same matter that shines in those distant suns. As the calm music continues, Imagine those ancient stars scattered through the halo. They drift slowly, glowing with a light older than memory. Their silence is not emptiness. It is peace, the steady rhythm of a universe that has seen everything and still endures. Each of them burns with the same quiet persistence that lives inside you. The galaxy remembers through them and through you. Every heartbeat, every breath is part of that unbroken chain. The Milky Way holds together because of something we cannot see. Every star, every planet, every drifting cloud of gas moves in response to an invisible force. By all logic, the outer edges of the galaxy should have flown apart long ago. The stars there orbit too quickly. The pull of visible matter, stars, dust, gas, should not be enough to hold them. And yet, they remain. They circle the galactic center as if bound by an unseen hand. That hand is what we call dark matter. It does not shine. It does not absorb or reflect light, but it has gravity. And it outweighs everything we can see. For every atom that glows in a star, there are many more wrapped in this invisible form. Dark matter shapes the Milky Way like a skeleton of gravity, giving it structure and stability. Without it, the galaxy would scatter into space, its stars drifting away like sparks in the wind. Astronomers first noticed this mystery by studying how galaxies rotate. They measured the speed of stars at different distances from the center and found that the numbers made no sense. According to the laws of physics, stars farther from the core should move more slowly, just as the outer planets move slower around the sunday. But in the Milky Way, the stars at the edge move almost as fast as those near the center. Something massive, something invisible, must be holding them in place. That was the first clear sign of dark matter. Over the decades, scientists have searched for it in every way they can imagine. They have built underground detectors, orbiting observatories, and enormous telescopes. Still, no one has ever seen a particle of dark matter directly. It passes through us, through the Earth, through stars, leaving almost no trace, except for its gravity. It is a silent companion, surrounding every galaxy, filling the universe like a hidden ocean. Even though we cannot see it, we can map its influence. Using precise measurements of how light bends when it passes through space, astronomers can trace the outlines of dark matter halos around galaxies. The Milky Way sits at the center of one such halo. It is vast, hundreds of thousands of light years across, and it holds far more mass than all the stars combined. Every orbit, every motion you can imagine, happens within that invisible field. Think of it this way: the galaxy you see is only the surface of a deeper structure. The glowing spiral of stars is like the foam on the top of a dark sea. Beneath it lies a massive, unseen current of matter shaping everything above. Even though it cannot be touched or measured directly, its presence defines the shape of the cosmos. Every galaxy, every cluster, every filament of the universe is wrapped around it. It is the silent architecture of reality. Dark matter not only holds galaxies together, it connects them. Between clusters of galaxies, invisible filaments stretch across millions of light years. They form what scientists call the cosmic web, the vast network that gives the universe its shape. Where these filaments intersect, galaxies gather like drops of dew along a strand. The Milky Way is one of those drops, held in place by the threads of unseen mass. When we map the universe on the largest scales, it looks like a web of light glowing through darkness, but what truly binds it is the invisible. This hidden matter is still one of science's greatest mysteries. What is it made of? Why does it exist? The answers remain just beyond our reach. Some theories suggest it is made of undiscovered particles, while others propose that gravity itself behaves differently at the largest scales. Whatever the truth, it tells us one clear thing. Most of the universe is not what we see. The familiar stars, planets, and nebulae are only the visible tip of something far greater. There is something profoundly humbling about that thought. The light we admire in the night sky depends on a darkness we cannot perceive. The structure of the Milky Way, the stability of our orbit. Even the path of the sun through space, all of it relies on the pull of something we have never touched. The universe is built on the unseen, and yet that unseen is steady, constant, and patient. It reminds us that the most powerful things often move in silence. As the calm music continues, imagine that invisible web surrounding you. It does not glow, yet it shapes everything. You are inside that gravity, moving gently through its quiet field. Every atom of your body is part of this same balance, held by forces older than the stars. Even in the darkness between worlds, there is order. Even in the unseen, there is connection. You are carried within the same invisible structure that holds galaxies together. It is the stillness beneath motion, the gravity beneath light, the quiet strength that allows the universe to endure. Beyond the bright spiral of the Milky Way lies a region that few ever think about. It is not filled with dense clusters or glowing arms. It is quiet, nearly empty, and yet it holds the key to the galaxy's history. This region is called the halo. It surrounds the Milky Way like a faint sphere of forgotten light, stretching far beyond the visible stars. It is here that the oldest remnants of the galaxy drift, ancient clusters, lonely stars, and invisible rivers of dark matter. The halo is enormous, far larger than the glowing disk where most of the stars reside. If the Milky Way's bright center and arms could fit within a single grain of sand, the halo would be the size of a mountain around it. It extends for hundreds of thousands of light years in every direction. To the naked eye, it is invisible, but its influence is everywhere. It holds the galaxy together, anchoring the spiral disk within its invisible gravity. Every star you see at night moves inside this unseen sphere. Scattered throughout the halo are ancient formations called globular clusters. They are dense, spherical swarms of stars, each containing hundreds of thousands bound tightly by gravity. These clusters are among the oldest objects in the Milky Way, some dating back more than 12 billion years. When the galaxy was young, they formed from the first waves of star birth that swept through the early universe. Since then, they have orbited the galactic center like patient witnesses, preserving the memory of a time when the cosmos itself was new. Globular clusters are breathtaking to observe. Through a telescope, they appear as glowing spheres, bright at the core and fading toward the edges. Each one contains so many stars that they blur together into a single halo of light. From Earth, they look motionless, but they are in constant movement, orbiting high above and below the galactic plane. Their paths are elongated and tilted, crossing the disk every few 100 million years. As they travel, they pass through the spiral arms, stirring the surrounding stars with their gravity like stones dropped into a pond. Inside each cluster, the stars are crowded closer than anywhere else in the galaxy. If you could stand on a planet inside one, your night sky would never be dark. Hundreds of suns would blaze all around you, close enough to cast overlapping shadows. It would be a sky full of golden fire, brighter than any sunrise on Earth. But for all their beauty, globular clusters are peaceful. Their stars are old, stable, and long past the chaos of formation. They move together as a single living system, ancient but balanced. These clusters are not only beautiful, they are records. By studying the light from their stars, astronomers can learn about the early conditions of the Milky Way. The composition of the stars tells us what elements were present when they formed. Some clusters contain stars with almost no heavy elements, marking them as relics from the earliest ages of star formation. Others showed traces of later enrichment, hinting that they were absorbed from smaller galaxies long ago. The halo, in this way, is a library of stellar history, written not on paper but in light. The number of globular clusters in the Milky Way is more than 150, but there may have been many more in the past. Some were torn apart by tidal forces, their stars spread into faint streams that now drift through the halo. A few have been captured from other galaxies, their paths looping through space like threads woven into the Milky Way's fabric. Each one is a survivor, a fragment of an older story still unfolding above us. Together they form a quiet network of light, connecting the galaxy's ancient outskirts to its bright center. Between these clusters floats a sea of thin gas and dark matter. It is almost empty by human standards, far less dense than the best vacuum ever made on Earth. Yet, it holds enormous weight. The halo's mass is mostly dark matter, invisible but dominant. It shapes how stars and clusters move, how the galaxy spins, how its spiral arms stay in place. The stars within the halo are like dust carried in a wind that we cannot see, responding to a force that defines their every motion. If you could drift out into the halo, away from the disk, the galaxy would appear small and bright in the distance. You would see it as a glowing whirlpool of light, surrounded by the faint haze of old stars. Everything else around you would be darkness. No sound, no air, no motion, only the slow pull of gravity and the eternal shine of faraway suns. It would feel empty, but it would not be lonely. The halo is not absence, it is memory. It is the space where the galaxy keeps its past. As you breathe now, imagine that stillness. Picture yourself suspended in that quiet halo, surrounded by the faint glow of 100 billion years of motion. Each spark of light around you has seen the birth of the galaxy, the rise and fall of stars, the shaping of time itself. Their patience is endless. Their rhythm is slow. You are part of that rhythm. You are moving through it even now, held in the same gravity that holds the halo together. The Milky Way endures because memory endures. And somewhere in that vast, silent sphere, the story of everything that ever was is still unfolding. The Milky Way is not only a galaxy of stars, it is also a galaxy of energy. Beyond the light that our eyes can see, there is a hidden world of motion waves, particles, and magnetic fields weaving silently through space. These invisible forces fill the galaxy, shaping its structure and carrying the echoes of its past. Every moment, radiation passes through you, through the air, through the Earth itself. The universe is never still. It hums with the quiet vibration of creation. When you look up at the night sky, you see starlight warm, steady, and familiar. But that light is only a small part of the story. Beyond visible light, the Milky Way glows in radio waves, X-rays, gamma rays, and infrared. Each wavelength reveals a different layer of its hidden design. In radio light, we see great clouds of hydrogen drifting between the stars like fog. In X-rays, we find the marks of violent events, collapsing stars, hot gas, and the faint breath of black holes. The galaxy speaks in many voices, even if we can only hear one. At the heart of this unseen realm lies magnetism. The Milky Way is threaded with vast magnetic fields, stretching across its spiral arms and out into the halo. They are invisible, yet they shape how gas and dust move, how stars are born, and how cosmic rays travel. These fields twist and fold through the interstellar medium like unseen rivers, guiding charged particles across unimaginable distances. Over millions of years, they weave a pattern of structure and order, giving shape to what would otherwise drift without direction. Cosmic rays are among the most mysterious travelers in the universe. They are high-energy particles, mostly protons, and atomic nuclei hurled across space by exploding stars. When a supernova erupts, it releases a shock wave strong enough to accelerate these particles to nearly the speed of light. Once set loose, they race through the galaxy, bouncing between magnetic fields like tiny messengers of the stars that gave them birth. Every second, billions of them pass through your body. They leave no trace that you can feel, but they are there, constant and unstoppable. You are part of the same current that flows through the entire Milky Way. Astronomers have learned to detect this hidden radiation using telescopes that do not collect visible light but energy itself. Some listen to the radio whispers of hydrogen atoms. Others catch flashes of X-rays from the edges of black holes. Gamma-ray observatories map enormous bubbles of high-energy light, extending above and below the galactic plane, traces of ancient outbursts from the Milky Way's core. Each new wavelength reveals another layer of the galaxy's character, as if we are learning to hear its music, one instrument at a time. There is a certain poetry in knowing that the galaxy glows even in darkness. Where the eye sees emptiness, there is always motion. Where it sees silence, there are waves crossing billions of miles. The spaces between stars are filled with the soft hum of radiation, the faint murmur of magnetism, and the gentle rhythm of particles moving in endless arcs. We are surrounded by energy so subtle and constant that it feels like stillness, but that stillness is alive. Imagine for a moment that you could perceive all these invisible forms. The night sky would transform before you. You would see ribbons of light curling along the spiral arms, shimmering with radio waves. You would see threads of magnetism rising into the halo like glowing lines. Every star would be surrounded by faint rings of energy, expanding outward into the dark. The galaxy would no longer appear quiet. It would appear alive, pulsing with silent power. Even here on Earth, we are part of that field. Our planet moves through it, bathed in cosmic radiation and guided by magnetic currents that connect us to the wider galaxy. The same physical laws that govern the stars also shape the air around us, the pulse of our hearts, the spark in our thoughts. You are not separate from this energy. You are made of it. Every atom in your body once carried that same charge, that same motion, that same quiet fire. Now let yourself rest in that awareness. Feel the idea of motion within stillness. The Milky Way hums softly, unseen yet constant. Its fields stretch around you, through you, beyond you. Every breath, every heartbeat is another small vibration in the same great wave. This is the hidden side of the galaxy, the part we do not see but always feel. It is the music beneath silence, the current beneath light, the quiet energy that has moved through the universe since tea. At the center of the Milky Way, hidden behind clouds of dust and gas, lies a place unlike any other. It is a region so dense with stars that their light blends into a soft golden haze. Yet at the heart of that brightness sits something darker than shadow itself. A supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius, A star. It is the quiet engine that anchors our galaxy. 4 million times the mass of the Sun, compressed into a space smaller than the orbit of Mercury. For most of its existence, it has remained silent. We cannot see it directly. Dozens of them sweep in tight, fast orbits, moving at thousands of kilometers per second. Their paths curve and twist as if pulled by an invisible force. From their motion, astronomers calculated the black hole's presence and its immense weight. They watch one particular star, called S2, complete an orbit every 16 years. At its closest approach, it races around the black hole at a speed no human mind can fully imagine. That motion alone proves the heart of the Milky Way is held by gravity beyond measure. A black hole is not a hole in the usual sense. It is a region where matter has been crushed into such density that nothing, not even light, can escape. Its gravity bends space and time itself, creating a one-way boundary known as the event horizon. Anything that crosses it is lost from view, falling inward toward a point of infinite compression. Yet even from outside that horizon, we can feel its power. Gas and dust that venture too close begin to spin in spirals, heating up as they fall. Sometimes this material flares with X-rays before disappearing, giving us a brief glimpse of the violence within. Long ago, Sagittarius A star may have been far more active. When the galaxy was young, it likely consumed matter at a furious rate, glowing like a quasar, a brilliant beacon that could outshine all the stars combined. Today it rests quietly, feeding only on the occasional drift of gas or the stray remains of a passing star. But the memory of its past remains visible. Above and below the galactic center, astronomers have discovered vast bubbles of high-energy radiation, each tens of thousands of light-years tall. These are the echoes of ancient activity, remnants of a time when the Milky Way's heart burned bright. The center of the galaxy is not just home to the black hole. It is crowded with clusters of massive stars, dense clouds of gas, and strange structures shaped by gravity and magnetism. Radio maps reveal arcs and filaments that loop across hundreds of light-years. They rise like luminous threads, perhaps guided by the magnetic field that stretches through the core. Each one marks the flow of energy that connects the hidden heart to the spiral arms beyond. The core of the Milky Way is not silent. It hums with motion that we cannot see. The gravity there is beyond comprehension. Time slows as you approach the event horizon. An hour near its edge might stretch into years for someone far away. Space bends like a tide, pulling everything inward. Yet, to the stars that orbit safely beyond, it is simply another companion, a weight they cannot see but can feel. That is the paradox of the galactic center: destruction and harmony intertwined, stillness and motion sharing the same point in space. The Milky Way depends on that balance. Without its massive core, the galaxy's rotation would unravel. The black hole's gravity keeps the stars moving in their long, graceful orbits. It acts as the anchor of the spiral, the unseen center around which everything turns. Even the sun, so distant, completes its endless circle under that same influence. We are part of the dance, moving slowly around a point of darkness that gives shape to all the light we see. Now close your eyes and picture that heart, not as something to fear, but as a still center of gravity, patient and enduring. Around it, billions of suns move together like a symphony following a single rhythm. Every orbit, every beam of light traces back to that one quiet source. You are part of that motion, carried in the same current. The pull that holds galaxies together is the same pull that keeps you grounded. It is not destruction, it is connection. It is the reminder that even in the deepest darkness, gravity still holds everything in place, and from that stillness, light continues to rise. When astronomers first mapped the center of the Milky Way, they expected to find a simple round bulge of stars surrounding the core. What they discovered instead was something far more complex. A structure that swells and twists like an hourglass. This central region, known as the galactic bulge, has a strange and beautiful shape. From the side, it looks almost like a peanut, curved inward at the center and wider at the edges. It is not a perfect sphere, but a living form, sculpted by gravity and time. The stars in this bulge move in looping orbits, tracing paths that rise above and below the galactic plane. Together, over billions of years, the inner parts of the Milky Way have evolved, bending and stretching until they formed this shape. It is the product of rotation, mass, and the subtle push and pull of billions of suns influencing one another. What seems still from afar is actually a quiet storm of motion. At the heart of this peanut-shaped bulge runs another feature, a long bar of stars crossing the center, like a glowing bridge. This bar stretches for more than 27,000 light-years, rotating slowly within the galaxy. It acts like a gravitational engine, stirring the gas and stars around it. As it turns, it channels material toward the center, feeding both star formation and the supermassive black hole that lies within. The bar is not fixed. It drifts and evolves, shaping the pattern of the spiral arms that emerge from its ends. It is the inner skeleton of the Milky Way, giving the galaxy its rhythm and direction. The formation of the central bar likely began when the galaxy was still young. As the disk of stars rotated, small variations in density grew stronger, forming waves that pulled matter inward along certain paths. Over time, these waves created a narrow region of concentration, a bar that began to rotate as a single body. This bar then influenced the surrounding disk, sending out spiral arms that traced its movement. The process is still happening today. Stars and gas continue to flow along those arms, guided by the bar's gravitational pull. In this way, the Milky Way behaves like a great organism, its parts feeding and responding to one another. The center draws in material, transforming it into new light, while the outer arms stretch outward like growing branches. Energy flows through it, sometimes fast and chaotic, sometimes slow and steady. Over billions of years, these internal rhythms have sculpted the galaxy's form into what we see now, a graceful swirl with a heart that twists like light in motion. When scientists create computer simulations of our galaxy, they see how these shapes emerge naturally. A disk of stars will almost always form a bar if it has enough time and freedom to move. The bar eventually buckles upward and downward, thickening into the peanut bulge we observe today. This is not random. It is gravity's way of finding balance, creating order from the endless dance of motion. Even chaos, given enough time, will settle into symmetry. The Milky Way is proof of that patience. From far beyond, if you could see the galaxy edge on, the view would be astonishing. A thin, glowing disk would stretch across space, its center swelling into a bright golden bulge. Streams of gas and dust would arc above and below it, glowing faintly in infrared light. The bar would spin slowly within, stirring the stars like a gentle current. You would see that the Milky Way is not a perfect spiral, but a dynamic sculpture of light, bending and shifting as it turns. This central bulge, this glowing heart, is where some of the oldest stars in the galaxy still live. They orbit through the crowded core, moving so densely that the boundaries between them blur. Around them, new stars are forming, nourished by gas drawn inward through the bar. The region pulses with both memory and renewal, the old and the new existing side by side. It is a reminder that even in the most ancient parts of the universe, creation continues. Now picture that heart again, the peanut shape, the golden bar, the slow turning of billions of stars bound together. It is the center of our spiral home, the point around which every orbit flows, and though it lies 26,000 light-years away, you are moving with it. Your life, your breath, your heartbeat, all of it takes place inside that vast rotation. The same forces that shape the bulge guide your world as well. You are part of that motion, carried through the ages by the steady rhythm of gravity and light. As the relaxing music continues, imagine that slow spin, the galaxy turning in silence. Every motion is balanced. Every pattern has meaning. In the heart of the Milky Way, shape and motion are one. The universe does not stand still. It turns. And in turning, it creates beauty. From chaos to form, from shadow to light, from gravity to grace. Everything, even you, is part of that spiral rhythm. The Milky Way's spiral arms are not solid objects. They are patterns, waves of density that move through the disk, shaping the paths of gas, dust, and stars. When you see an image of our galaxy as a swirl of glowing arms, what you are really seeing is motion itself frozen in time. The arms are not permanent roads of light. They are like ripples in water, forming and fading as they move. Through them, matter flows, condenses, and then drifts onward again. Like travelers passing through a quiet current of creation. Inside those arms, the airless sea of space is far from empty. Clouds of cold hydrogen stretch across thousands of light years. They are the raw material of stars, waiting for the touch of gravity to gather them together. As a density wave moves through, it squeezes these clouds, compressing them until fusion begins. New stars ignite in clusters, scattering their light across the spiral. The brightest of them burn blue and fierce, living only a few million years before ending in explosions that enrich the gas around them. When they die, the shock waves ripple outward, triggering new rounds of formation. This is how the galaxy keeps breathing, each burst of light feeding the next. The spiral pattern of the Milky Way is created by these waves, not by the motion of the stars themselves. Stars move in and out of the arms over time, just as cars move through a traffic jam on a busy highway. The jam itself travels along the road, even though no single car stays in it for long. In the same way, the arms of the galaxy are moving waves, guiding the stars without holding them. What looks solid is really rhythm, a pattern of balance and compression that never stops shifting. If we could rise above the galaxy and look down upon it, we would see an intricate geometry of light. The central bar glows gold, and from it the spiral arms unfold like ribbons of silver-blue starlight. Nebulae mark the places where new stars are forming, glowing pink and purple along the ridges of the waves. Dark lanes of dust wind between them, sculpting the arms into curves of shadow and shine. Every strand of light is in motion, every curve slowly shifting as gravity and time play their endless duet. The Milky Way is not fixed, it is alive, and every heartbeat of the universe flows through its form. Within these arms, entire worlds are born. Stars gather planets, and planets gather moons. Comets carry ice and carbon, scattering the ingredients of life. The same processes that shaped our solar system continue to unfold elsewhere in the spiral. Every world that forms is another echo of the same story. A cloud collapsing, a disk of dust circling a young star, a chance for life to begin again. When you look up at the faint band of the Milky Way across the night sky, you are seeing billions of potential worlds drifting together in harmony. These spiral arms do not exist forever. Over cosmic time, their shapes will shift as the galaxy evolves. When the Milky Way merges with Andromeda billions of years from now, the arms will be torn apart and remade into a new form. But the pattern will endure in another way. Wherever there is motion and gravity, spiral shapes emerge. They appear in hurricanes, in seashells, in galaxies, each a reflection of the same mathematical rhythm. The spiral is nature's signature, the form of movement made visible. It is a pattern that repeats across scales, from atoms to stars, from your breath to the turning of galaxies. To stand beneath the Milky Way is to stand inside that pattern. You are part of its shape, moving through one of its quiet arms. Your world circles a star that drifts with billions of others, following the slow spiral that has continued for billions of years. Though we think of the sky as still, it is always moving, always folding itself into new forms. The arm that shelters us now will one day fade, replaced by another wave of light. Yet the rhythm continues, and we continue within it. As the calm music drifts through the background, imagine the spiral arms around you. They move like soft currents, carrying stars through the deep. Each motion is gentle, each turn deliberate. Nothing in the galaxy is still. Not even you. You are part of the pattern. One small light among countless others, turning endlessly within the spiral's quiet grace. The Milky Way is both home and motion, an endless river of stars that never stops flowing. Every star, no matter how bright or massive, carries within it a limit. The story of its life is written in its size, its temperature, and the quiet rhythm of fusion burning in its core. Some stars live for billions of years, glowing softly like steady lanterns in the dark. Others live fast and brilliant lives, consuming their fuel in only a few million years. But no matter the pace, every star must one day fade. And when that time comes, the galaxy itself changes. Stars are the engines of creation. Inside their cores, hydrogen fuses into helium, and helium into heavier elements. When their fuel runs out, the balance between gravity and pressure begins to fail. A small star, like our Sun, will swell into a red giant, its outer layers drifting into space as glowing shells of gas. When the last of its fuel is gone, its core will collapse into a white dwarf, a small, dense sphere, no larger than Earth, shining faintly with the heat of what remains. Over billions of years, that ember will cool and dim until it becomes invisible, a memory of light. Massive stars follow a more violent path. They live short and burn with incredible intensity. Their cores a furnace of heavy elements. When their energy runs out, they cannot resist gravity's pull. In an instant, they collapse inward and then explode outward as a supernova. The light from such an event can outshine an entire galaxy for days. It is both an ending and a beginning. The explosion scatters carbon, iron, and oxygen into the surrounding space, the same elements that will one day form new stars, planets, and life itself. This cycle of birth and death is how the Milky Way renews itself. Every atom of gold, every grain of dust, every drop of water began in the heart of a dying star. Even now, the space between the spiral arms is filled with these ashes of creation. They drift through the interstellar medium, joining clouds of gas that will someday collapse again. When those clouds give rise to new stars, the material is reborn. The galaxy is a great recycler, turning endings into beginnings, transforming light into life, and life back into light. Supernovae are not only beautiful, they are vital. Their shock waves stir the surrounding gas, compressing it and triggering new generations of star formation. They spread the metals that make planets solid and skies blue. Without them, the Milky Way would be sterile and dim, a galaxy of hydrogen without color or variety. The heavy elements that make up our world, and even our own bodies, were once forged in explosions like these. In every sense, we are descendants of stars. There is a calm rhythm to this process. From afar, it does not look violent. It looks like the slow breathing of the galaxy itself. Stars ignite, burn, collapse, and fade, while others take their place. The balance remains. Even destruction serves a purpose. The Milky Way endures because it knows how to let go, how to turn chaos into creation and silence into new light. Astronomers have found the remnants of long-dead stars scattered across the sky. Some are still glowing as supernova remnants, vast clouds shaped like circles or flowers, expanding slowly through space. Others have collapsed into neutron stars, objects so dense that a teaspoon of their matter would weigh more than a mountain. A few have become black holes, small echoes of the immense one at the galaxy's center. These remnants mark the end of one generation and the foundation of the next. The galaxy is full of their quiet memorials, drifting through the arms like ghostly petals of light. The death of stars also shapes time itself. It determines how galaxies evolve, how elements combine, and how long life can last. When astronomers look across the universe, they can trace cosmic history through the ages of stars. Younger galaxies glow blue with newborn suns. Older ones shine red. Filled with stars nearing the end of their journey, the Milky Way, in its middle age, carries both young clusters still forming in the arms and ancient red giants resting near the core. It is a galaxy in balance, breathing in and out between past and future. Every atom within you carries this same story. The calcium in your bones was forged in a supernova. The oxygen you breathe was made in the heart of a giant star that no longer exists. You are made of the remains of light, gathered across time and shaped into life. The universe is not separate from you, it flows through you. In every breath, you echo the rhythm of creation, the slow cycle of stars that began long before the Earth was born. Now, as the soft music plays, imagine those ancient suns fading across the spiral arms. Their light still travels, their dust still drifts, their elements still shine in every living thing. You are part of that cycle. Your life is a brief flash within a much greater story. And though the stars die, their essence remains, scattered through the Milky Way like seeds of light. Even endings are beginnings. In the silence of space, nothing is truly lost. Everything becomes part of something new, and the galaxy continues to glow with the quiet fire of rebirth. Between the stars lies more than empty space. there is a thin, unseen ocean called the interstellar medium, a mixture of gas, dust, and plasma that fills the galaxy. It is delicate, almost invisible, yet it connects every part of the Milky Way. Within it, the ashes of dead stars mingle with the breath of new ones. This is where the galaxy recycles itself, transforming endings into beginnings. Most of the interstellar medium is hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant element in the universe. But scattered among it are traces of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and countless heavier elements forged in ancient stars. These atoms float together in massive clouds that stretch for light years. Some regions are warm and glowing, others cold and silent. When conditions are right, gravity begins to pull the gas into dense knots. Over millions of years, these knots collapse into stars, planets, and everything that follows. The cycle never ends. Astronomers map this hidden landscape using radio telescopes, which can detect the faint signals emitted by hydrogen atoms even in the darkest parts of the galaxy. These signals reveal that the interstellar medium is far from uniform. It forms filaments, shells, and bubbles shaped by ancient explosions. Supernovae carve cavities in the gas, while stellar winds from young stars push it into sweeping arcs. The result is a tapestry of motion, a slow, continuous exchange between birth and decay. This process is known as the galactic ecosystem. Just as forests and oceans on Earth recycle life through growth and decay, the Milky Way recycles its matter through stars and gas. A dying star releases material into space. That material cools, gathers, and becomes part of new clouds. Eventually, those clouds collapse again to form more stars. Every particle travels through this cycle countless times, changing form but never disappearing. You could say that the galaxy breathes. Each generation of stars is an inhale, each supernova an exhale. Dust plays a quiet but powerful role in this process. Tiny grains made of carbon, silicates, and ice drift through the interstellar medium. They absorb starlight, hiding vast regions of the galaxy from view. To the human eye, these dark patches appear as empty space, but they are rich with the ingredients for creation. Infrared telescopes can see through the dust, revealing glowing clouds where new suns are forming. The dust itself acts like a shield, protecting fragile molecules from radiation until they can come together. Without these tiny particles, planets could never form, and life as we know it would not exist. Inside the densest regions of the interstellar medium, complex chemistry unfolds. Molecules form on the surfaces of dust grains, simple compounds like water and carbon monoxide, but also more intricate ones, such as alcohols and amino acids. These molecules are the seeds of life, scattered throughout the galaxy long before any planet can host them. Comets and asteroids will one day carry them to new worlds, planting the same chemistry that once began here on Earth. The story of life is older than our world. It began in the clouds that drift between the stars. The interstellar medium is not static. It moves in great flows, stirred by the energy of stars. Supernovae send waves of hot gas into the halo, where it cools and falls back toward the disk like rain. This process is known as the Galactic fountain. It keeps the Milky Way alive, mixing old and new material, refreshing the spiral arms with fuel for star formation. In this quiet cycle, the galaxy maintains its balance, never truly losing or gaining, only changing form. From a distance, but in truth, the interstellar medium is in constant motion. Clouds stretch and twist, magnetic fields ripple through them, and cosmic rays weave invisible paths across their vast expanse. If you could drift among them, you would feel nothing, but you would be surrounded by the slow machinery of creation. It would be like floating inside the breath of a living being, where every particle plays its part in the grand rhythm of renewal. Now imagine that breath passing through you. Every atom in your body was once part of this cycle, formed in a star, released into the interstellar medium, and gathered again into new form. The galaxy has used the same matter for billions of years, shaping and reshaping it into infinite combinations. You are part of that continuum. You are the galaxy remembering itself. The oxygen you inhale, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, all of it has traveled across light years and epochs to be here, alive in this moment. As the calm music carries you deeper into stillness, think of that motion. Gentle, endless, and full of purpose. The Milky Way breathes through its stars and through you. That breath continues. In every silence, something is forming. In every pause, something is becoming. You are made of the galaxy's memory, a single heartbeat in the slow rhythm of creation. The Milky Way is not just shaped by stars and gravity. Invisible forces thread through it, weaving a network of power that reaches from the core to the edge of the halo. These are the magnetic fields of the galaxy, silent, unseen, but everywhere. They move through gas, through dust, through clouds of plasma, giving structure to the spaces between stars. Though their strength is weak compared to Earth's magnetism, their influence spans across light years, shaping how matter flows and how stars are born. We cannot see these fields directly, but we can trace their effect. When light passes through a magnetic region, it becomes polarized, twisting slightly as it travels. Astronomers use this faint rotation to map the galaxy's magnetic lines, revealing patterns that curl along the spiral arms and rise far above the galactic plane. They form vast arches that loop into the halo, connecting the heart of the Milky Way to its outer reaches. Each line of force guides particles and cosmic rays, bending their motion across space like wind shaping the path of a drifting leaf. Inside the spiral arms, the magnetic field helps sculpt the clouds that form new stars. As gas flows through the arms, it compresses and aligns with the invisible lines. This alignment slows collapse in some areas while guiding material into filaments in others. Over millions of years, these filaments become the birthplaces of stars, thin, glowing threads that stretch across the galaxy like veins of light. Without magnetism, these structures would fall apart too quickly or never gather at all. It is an unseen architect, subtle but essential, balancing chaos with order. The field also serves as a kind of shield. It deflects cosmic rays and charged particles that travel through the Milky Way at nearly the speed of light. These rays originate from supernova explosions, pulsars, and even distant galaxies. As they move, they spiral along the magnetic lines, weaving intricate paths through space. Some eventually reach Earth, striking our atmosphere and creating brief showers of energy. Though we cannot feel them, they remind us that the galaxy is never still. Every moment, waves of particles pass through us, whispering messages from the stars. The motion of the magnetic field is tied to the movement of the galaxy itself. As the Milky Way rotates, it drags the field along, twisting and stretching it into vast spirals. This dynamo effect keeps the field alive, constantly renewing it through motion. It may even influence how the spiral arms form and persist. In this way, magnetism becomes part of the Milky Way's heartbeat, a slow pulse that keeps its structure in balance. It is the invisible rhythm beneath the visible one, steady and eternal. But the galaxy's magnetic field is not uniform. It twists and bends, shaped by turbulence in the interstellar medium. Supernova explosions and stellar winds send shockwaves through space, and as those waves travel, they distort the field into loops and swirls. Some regions become tightly wound, while others expand outward in wide arcs. Together, these variations create a kind of cosmic weather, a quiet storm that never ends, filling the Milky Way with ripples of energy too subtle for human senses to detect. If you could see it with new eyes, the galaxy would appear transformed. Streams of golden light would flow along invisible currents, spiraling around clusters and threading through clouds. The arms of the Milky Way would glow faintly with electric motion, each line of magnetism tracing the story of gravity and energy working together. Even the dark spaces between stars would shimmer faintly, filled with magnetic echoes that never stop moving. What looks like emptiness is actually a vast sea of unseen motion. This magnetic web connects everything in the galaxy, from the smallest grains of dust to the largest clusters of stars. It guides the flow of matter, protects young systems from violent radiation, and helps carry energy across unimaginable distances. It is, in many ways, the nervous system of the Milky Way, an invisible network through which the galaxy communicates with itself. Every star, every planet, every drifting cloud is part of this silent conversation. Even Earth listens to it, wrapped in its own protective magnetic field, linked to the larger pattern that fills the galaxy around us. Between the stars, the Milky Way is far from silent. Though it looks calm from a distance, space within the galaxy is alive with motion. Eddies of gas, waves of magnetism, and swirling turbulence that never truly ends. This invisible movement fills the gaps between stars, shaping how light travels, how matter gathers, and how stars are born. The space between worlds may appear empty, but it is in fact a restless ocean, a cosmic atmosphere that breathes and stirs. This turbulence is essential to the galaxy's life. Without it, clouds of gas would collapse too quickly or remain too diffuse to form stars. Turbulence stirs the gas, mixing it evenly and regulating how gravity pulls it together. It is both chaos and control, a delicate balance that determines where and when new light appears. Within that balance, the Milky Way finds its rhythm, a slow cycle of motion that keeps creation in constant motion. Every layer of this turbulence tells a story. In some regions, waves of gas flow like rivers, drawn toward the spiral arms where new stars form. In others, the turbulence becomes violent, heated by supernovae and stellar winds. Some parts of the interstellar medium are cold, only a few degrees above absolute zero, while others blaze with temperatures reaching millions of degrees. These extremes coexist side by side, like calm skies beside storms. The result is a galaxy in perpetual motion, its invisible air always shifting, always reshaping the patterns of light. From Earth, we cannot see this movement directly. But we can trace its fingerprints. Radio telescopes reveal long filaments of hydrogen gas stretching across the sky. Infrared images show glowing dust stirred by unseen currents. And when astronomers map the polarization of starlight, they find signs of magnetic turbulence woven through every direction. Each wavelength of observation uncovers a new layer of motion. What once seemed still becomes alive, a living canvas of flowing energy stretching through the entire Milky Way. Over billions of years, This interplay of turbulence and gravity has built the galaxy's structure. It determines where stars form, where gas flows, and how long light survives. Even the spiral arms owe their curves partly to the constant motion of the interstellar medium. When we look at the faint streak of the Milky Way across the sky, we are not seeing a still picture. We are seeing a frozen frame in an endless dance, one that began long before the sun was born and will continue long after the last star fades. If you could drift through that space, you would not see walls or boundaries. You would be surrounded by slow ripples of gas glowing softly in infrared light. Some waves would move like gentle tides. Others would twist in great loops shaped by magnetic fields. There would be no sound. But if you could feel vibration itself, it would be like hearing the deep hum of a sleeping ocean. You would sense movement everywhere, slow, vast, and alive. This turbulence does more than stir the galaxy. It carries memory. Each wave contains traces of ancient explosions, each filament the remnants of long-gone stars. The motions of today echo the actions of millions of years ago. The Milky Way does not forget. Its turbulence is its history, a record written not in words but in motion, forever reshaping the fabric of space. Now close your eyes and imagine that sea around you. There is no boundary between your breath and that great current. The same physics that stirs the galaxies also moves the air in your lungs. Each inhale, each exhale, mirrors the rhythm of the cosmos. You are breathing with the universe. You are part of its turbulence, its balance between chaos and calm. In every still moment, the unseen continues to move, and in that motion, the galaxy remains alive. Not every world has a Sunday. Across the Milky Way, there are planets drifting freely through the darkness, unattached to any star. They are called rogue planets, silent travelers moving through the galaxy alone. Some were born in systems like ours and later flung out by gravitational chaos. Others may have formed directly from collapsing clouds of gas, never bound to a star at all. They drift endlessly between the stars, cold, invisible, and unseen, except by the faint gravity they cast upon the light of distant suns. Astronomers estimate that there could be billions of these wandering planets in our galaxy, perhaps even more than the number of stars. Each one is a world without sunrise or sunset, a place where night never ends. There is no orbit, no warmth, no familiar rhythm of seasons, only the endless journey through darkness. Yet even in that silence, deep within, some may still hold heat left over from their birth or generated by radioactive decay in their cores. That warmth could sustain oceans beneath frozen surfaces, hidden worlds that never see starlight but remain alive with quiet energy. These orphaned worlds are among the most mysterious objects in the universe. They are nearly impossible to see because they emit no light of their own. Astronomers detect them indirectly by watching how their gravity bends the light of distant stars when they pass in front. This rare event, called gravitational microlensing, reveals their presence for only a few moments, a flicker of shadow across the cosmos. In that brief distortion of light, an entire planet announces itself, then disappears again into the dark. The space between stars is unimaginably vast, but the Milky Way's gravity still binds these wanderers to its overall motion. They drift through the spiral arms, like quiet ships on a dark ocean, sometimes passing near clusters, sometimes gliding through the emptiness between. They may spend billions of years traveling this way, crossing from one edge of the galaxy to the other without ever touching another world. Each one carries the memory of its origin, a frozen echo of the star system that once gave it birth. And yet, even here, there is connection. The same gravity that holds the stars in their orbits also guides these solitary travelers. They are part of the Milky Way's story, just as much as the bright systems that light up the spiral arms. Some may one day be captured again, pulled into the orbit of a new star, finding warmth after eons of darkness. Others will continue to drift forever, their long journey never ending, their silence unbroken. But none of them are truly lost. They remain threads in the larger pattern, woven into the invisible fabric of the galaxy's motion. Now picture yourself following one of these wanderers. There is no sound, no horizon. Only blackness scattered with faint stars. The planet beneath you glides forward through space, its surface cold, its motion steady. Its journey without end. You realize that even in isolation, it belongs to something greater. It moves within the gravity of the galaxy, within the same spiral of motion that carries us all. Even in the quietest places, the universe continues its rhythm. Even in the dark, there is connection. As the soft music surrounds you, let the thought of that drifting world settle in your mind. Every journey, no matter how distant, is part of the same whole. Every traveler, no matter how alone, is still within the galaxy's embrace. The Milky Way is a sea of motion, and we are all its voyagers. Stars, planets, and light itself, moving together through time, each of us a spark within the same eternal drift. The Milky Way is not alone in the universe. It belongs to a small family of galaxies drifting together through space, a quiet cluster bound by gravity and shared motion. Astronomers call it the local group. It contains more than 50 galaxies, some large and bright, others faint and small. Together, they form a gravitational community, moving as one through the larger web of the cosmos. At the center of this family are two great spirals, the Milky Way and Andromeda. They are the dominant members, each surrounded by their own retinue of smaller companions. Around the Milky Way orbit dozens of tiny galaxies known as dwarfs, dim, fragile systems that drift like satellites, slowly circling the vast spiral disk. The large and small Magellanic Clouds, visible from the southern hemisphere, are the most famous of these companions. They are irregular, bright, and full of young stars, their shapes distorted by the Milky Way's pull as they pass nearby on long, looping orbits. Farther out, beyond our closest neighbors, lie other members of the local group, the Triangulum Galaxy, a smaller spiral glowing quietly on the edge of Andromeda's domain, and numerous faint dwarfs scattered like cosmic dust between the giants. Together they form a loose structure more than 10 million light-years across. Each galaxy moves within it, like a slow planet in a solar system, curved paths defined not by sunlight, but by the invisible pull of shared gravity. Within this group, everything is connected. Streams of hydrogen gas link galaxies together, faint bridges of matter flowing through the darkness. Some of these bridges are the remnants of ancient collisions, while others are threads of the cosmic web that feed the group from beyond. These filaments carry gas into the galaxies, providing the raw material for new stars even as old ones fade away. The local group is not a collection of isolated islands. It is a network, a quiet cluster of living galaxies bound by invisible threads. The Milky Way and Andromeda are slowly moving toward each other, their fates already intertwined. Over the next 4 billion years, they will drift closer until they merge into a single giant system. When that happens, the smaller members of the local group will be drawn inward as well, becoming part of the new galactic core. The night skies of that distant future will be brighter and more crowded than any we can imagine. Yet even then, the balance will remain: gravity, keeping the family together in its slow, elegant dance. Beyond the local group lies a vast region called the local sheet, a flat layer of galaxies stretching out for tens of millions of light years. Our group moves within this larger structure like a ripple in an endless ocean. Together, these layers of galaxies form the Virgo supercluster, a grand arrangement of hundreds of groups, each following the faint flow of dark matter that shapes the universe. The Milky Way's place within this cosmic architecture is both humble and magnificent. It is one pattern among many, a single swirl of light within a universe of infinite motion. When scientists map these vast structures, they find that galaxies are not scattered randomly, but arranged in filaments and clusters. Between them lie enormous voids, regions almost completely empty of matter. The local group drifts along one of these filaments, a luminous bead strung along an invisible thread of dark matter. Everything we know, the stars, planets, and life itself moves along that thread as part of the same cosmic journey. It is gravity's masterpiece, the web that connects all creation. The motion of the local group tells us another story. The universe is still expanding. All galaxies beyond our small cluster are moving away, their light stretched into longer wavelengths as space itself expands. The farther they are, the faster they recede. This expansion began more than 13 billion years ago, and though it slows under gravity's pull, it will never stop completely. The local group is one of the few regions where gravity is strong enough to resist that expansion. Here, the galaxies remain together, while the rest of the cosmos drifts apart. Now close your eyes and imagine that scale. From a planet orbiting a single star, you are part of a galaxy among dozens, and that galaxy belongs to a group within a supercluster, all of it flowing through a universe that has no edge. The same laws that hold your feet to the ground also bind galaxies together across millions of light years. The pull you feel is the same force that connects all things. You are not separate from this vast web. You are woven into it. You are part of the Milky Way, part of the local group, part of the universe itself. A thread of light moving through the endless fabric of space and time. The Milky Way is not standing still. Even as its stars orbit the center, even as the spiral arms drift and reshape, the entire galaxy itself is moving through space. It sails across the universe, carried by invisible tides of gravity that extend beyond our imagination. Every cluster, every filament, every galaxy drifts together within a vast cosmic current. There is no true stillness, only motion layered upon motion. A silent flow that began with the birth of time itself. Relative to the cosmic background, the Milky Way is moving at hundreds of kilometers per second. This motion is not random. It is guided by the gravitational pull of massive structures far beyond our local group. To the north lies the Virgo cluster, a massive congregation of galaxies whose collective gravity tugs on us across millions of light years. Farther still lies something even larger, the Great Attractor, a mysterious region so massive it bends the motion of thousands of galaxies toward it. We, too, are part of that drift, drawn toward an unseen center that we may never reach. Astronomers can measure this movement by studying the faint glow of the cosmic microwave background, the afterlight of the Big Bang. This radiation fills the universe in every direction, a perfect field of ancient light. But when scientists measure it from Earth, they find a slight difference. In one direction, the light is shifted toward blue. In the opposite, toward red. This is the Doppler effect on a galactic scale, a sign that our entire galaxy is moving through the cosmos at remarkable speed. We are passengers on a ship made of stars, gliding through an ocean of ancient light. The motion of the Milky Way is complex and beautiful. It spins on its own axis while orbiting through the local group, which itself is drifting toward the Virgo cluster, which in turn moves within an even larger gravitational basin called Laniakea, the supercluster that encompasses much of our cosmic neighborhood. Laniakea means immense heaven in Hawaiian, and the name captures its nature, a region of galaxies connected not by physical boundaries, but by shared flow. We are part of that current, drawn together by gravity's patient hand. Even within this motion, space itself continues to expand. The universe is stretching, carrying galaxies away from one another, like dots on a growing balloon. The expansion is not an explosion, but a deepening of distance, an unfolding of space that began almost 14 billion years ago and still continues. Locally, gravity binds us to our neighbors, but beyond the reach of clusters and groups, the cosmic expansion dominates. There, galaxies drift away faster than light could ever close the gap. It is not speed through space, it is space itself growing between them. In this expansion lies both mystery and serenity. Everything moves apart, yet everything remains connected through gravity, through the memory of the moment the universe began. Galaxies like the Milky Way are not lost in this motion. They move as part of a grand pattern, a network of attraction and release, a cosmic breathing that has no beginning or end. Even as space expands, gravitational threads keep families of galaxies bound together, like small eddies swirling within a vast flowing sea. Imagine watching this from far outside. Beyond all clusters and superclusters, you would see countless galaxies suspended in the dark, each glowing softly, each moving in its own arc, streams of light following invisible currents that stretch across eternity. From that vantage point, the Milky Way would appear as a tiny spiral drifting along the flow, its arms slowly turning as it glides through the vast fabric of space-time. It would look peaceful and eternal, a quiet traveler among billions, carried by forces older than light. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing the galaxy in motion. The stars may seem fixed, but every one of them is moving, and you are moving with them around the galactic center, through the local group, through the supercluster, and beyond. The direction may change, the speed may vary, but the motion itself is eternal. Even in rest, you are traveling hundreds of kilometers every second. Stillness is only an illusion, a quiet perception within a universe that never pauses. Now take a slow breath and let that truth settle. You are not stationary. You are part of a moving galaxy, part of an expanding universe. Your life, your heartbeat, your thoughts, all of it exists within this motion. Every moment you experience is carried forward by forces that began at the dawn of time. You are not drifting away from the universe. You are drifting with it. The Milky Way's journey is your journey, and together you are moving through eternity. Calm, constant, and infinite in the quiet rhythm of the cosmos. Every story, Even one written in starlight moves toward an ending. Galaxies, too, are born, live, and change with time. The Milky Way is now in its middle age, calm, luminous, and steady. But billions of years from now, its shape, its color, and even its light will fade into something new. The galaxy's story is not one of disappearance, but of transformation. Everything that exists continues, just in another form. As the universe grows older, the Milky Way will change slowly. Its spiral arms will stretch and blur as star formation decreases. Already, new stars are being born less frequently than in the past. Gas that once filled the arms is now thinner, warmer, and harder to collapse. The galaxy is settling into maturity, glowing softly rather than burning bright. It is no longer a place of frantic creation, but of balance, an ancient rhythm that has learned how to endure. In about 4 billion years, the Milky Way will meet the Andromeda Galaxy. The two spirals will merge into one vast system of stars, their forms twisting and folding as gravity brings them together. For billions of years afterward, they will circle one another in a graceful collision until their stars finally settle into a single elliptical shape. Astronomers call this future galaxy Milky Way. It will shine brighter than either of its ancestors, its heart blazing with new stars born from the merging of old clouds. But as the ages pass, even that glow will fade. The universe will continue expanding. Galaxies far beyond our local cluster will drift away faster than light can follow. In the distant future, their light will no longer reach us. Only the stars within Milky Way will remain visible, and even they will gradually dim as their fuel runs out. The night sky, once filled with billions of distant galaxies, will grow quiet, leaving only the faint light of our own. Future beings, if they exist, may never know the vast universe we see today. To them, the cosmos will appear smaller, more silent, more alone. Yet even in that solitude, the cycle continues. Stars will keep forming from the remaining gas for billions of years more, though each generation will be fainter than the last. When star formation finally ceases, the galaxy will glow with red giants and fading embers. White dwarfs will cool into black dwarfs, dense, dark remnants of what once burned with brilliance. Neutron stars and black holes will wander through the dark, silent and enduring, still carrying the memory of the Milky Way's former light. In the far future, after trillions of years, time itself will stretch beyond the scale of imagination. The smallest stars, the red dwarfs that burn with faint light for ages, will finally fade away. Black holes will merge and evaporate, releasing their last whispers of energy as faint radiation. The universe will cool to near absolute zero, a silent sea of remnants scattered across expanding space. But even then, the story is not truly over. The matter that once formed galaxies, stars, and life will still exist, spread thin, but not gone. A quiet foundation beneath the vast dark. The end of the Milky Way is not an end of meaning. It is part of the same rhythm that has always guided the universe. The transformation of light into memory, of motion into stillness, of creation into rest. Nothing truly disappears. It only changes form. The atoms that make you, the light you see, the breath you take, all are part of this endless cycle. They were forged in the galaxy's youth and will continue long after its final glow has faded. You are part of the Milky Way's lasting legacy, a moment of awareness within its billions of years of motion. When we imagine the galaxy's far future, we often picture silence and darkness, but perhaps it will not feel like an ending. Perhaps it will feel like peace, a long exhale after an eternity of light. The stars will fade, but the memory of their fire will live in every particle of matter they leave behind. The universe does not mourn its past, it carries it forward. Even in the deep future, long after the last star has dimmed, its energy will still hum softly, echoing the light that once filled the sky. As the calm music flows, imagine that distant time, a universe quiet and vast, filled with the ghosts of galaxies. The Milky Way is gone, yet everywhere. Its stars are scattered, its dust drifting, its atoms reborn in new forms of existence. And somewhere within that infinite silence, a single atom of your being still moves, a remnant of light, a trace of memory, part of the same universe that has always been unfolding. The story of the Milky Way does not end. It simply continues, slowly, gently, into eternity. Every journey returns to silence. And now, after drifting through the heart of the Milky Way, through its arms, its stars, and its invisible threads, you have arrived at that quiet horizon. Not an ending, but a stillness, a place where everything you have heard, every image, every motion, folds back into peace. The galaxy continues to turn, and you remain within it, part of its rhythm, part of its light. Look back on what we have traveled through. You began at the edge of the spiral, where stars form from dust and darkness. You crossed the vast arms, glowing with newborn suns, and watched as rogue stars fled into the halo, as black holes slept at the center, as magnetic fields shimmered through the invisible. You witnessed the galaxy breathe, stars dying and stars born, gas rising and falling like the tide. You learned that every atom, every heartbeat, every flicker of life is made from the remnants of ancient light. In the end, the Milky Way is not just a collection of stars, it is a memory of the universe remembering itself. Every orbit, every collision, every beam of starlight tells a story about time, gravity, and change. Even the darkness between the stars is part of that story. Not emptiness, but possibility. A place where the next generation of stars is already gathering in silence. The galaxy never truly ends. It only transforms. What fades in light continues in gravity. What disappears in motion continues in memory. For billions of years, the Milky Way has carried its stars around the galactic core, turning slowly through the dark. Each orbit is a heartbeat of cosmic time. Each revolution carries the memory of what came before. You are living inside that cycle, carried along by the same forces that shaped the stars themselves. You may feel small, but you are made of the same matter that burns in suns. You are not beneath the galaxy, you are within it. You are the galaxy, aware of itself for a brief and shining moment. The next time you look up at the night sky, remember that you are not looking outward. You are looking inward through the arms of your own home. Every spark of light you see is part of the same spiral that carries you. The band of silver across the heavens is the cross-section of your cosmic body. You are woven into it, inseparable from its motion. The Milky Way does not surround you, it includes you. You are one thread in its immense, glowing design. And though the galaxy will one day merge, fade, and change, its essence will endure. Matter cannot vanish. Energy cannot be destroyed. The stars may die, but their light travels on, and their atoms become the dust from which new stars will rise. In that eternal exchange, you too are recycled. Your atoms will drift, join clouds, fall into a new world, and perhaps one distant day they will awaken again as thought, as consciousness, as life beneath another sky. That is the Milky Way's true gift: continuity. Nothing is wasted. Every end becomes a beginning. Every silence becomes the space for a new sound. The galaxy's rhythm is the same rhythm that moves through you now. Expansion and rest, light and dark, motion and stillness, all of it working together in quiet harmony. You were born from it. You belong to it. And long after your light has faded, you will still be part of its story. So breathe deeply and let that thought settle. The Milky Way turns, and you turn with it. The Earth spins beneath your feet. The Sun carries you through its orbit, and the galaxy itself sails across the infinite sea of space. In that vast motion, you are still. In that stillness, you are moving. The two are not separate, they are one and the same. As the final notes of this journey fade, imagine the galaxy stretching beyond sight, a river of stars winding through the dark. Somewhere within it, one small world glows blue, carrying a single awareness of it all. And you, made of dust and fire, listening to the heartbeat of your own cosmic home. The universe is not something you observe. It is something you are. You are the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream, the light and the space that holds it. The Milky Way continues to turn. And as it does, so do you quietly, endlessly, beautifully, part of the same motion, part of the same infinite peace. Good night, and see you in the next video.